Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, July 21st. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, let's start by stepping back at the daily real quick. What we can see is we have both broken out of balance and broken out of a downtrend in the market at the same time over the last few days, and that is leading to excess. Excess is a trend to the upside. Man, I got something stuck right in the back of my throat, and I can't get rid of it. Anyway, sorry about that. So excess is a sign of a trend to the upside, and the question is always, are we going to get continuation of that trend? Is there more excess to be had? Or do we need to balance off that excess? Two ways to balance it off. One is to go sideways at higher prices. The other is to pull back with price. So first question, when is the momentum over? And then how are we going to balance it off once it is? The first potential signal that the momentum might be weaning was the fact that we did not get a spike up yesterday, which we have been getting the last few days. But I'm looking at the way the overnight traded, and I'm pretty much considering that it's not technically a 45-degree angle from the low, but I would consider it one. So that implies that we have good, strong lows in the overnight here, and that these buyers want to take the market higher. So obviously we're opening inside the previous day's range here in 2 minutes, and we will be expecting chop. We'll be expecting the market to grind up and down for a while. The first potential support, I'm going to say, is just right above that overnight low, around 39.47. So I'll be expecting us to push down into that, looking for support. And then resistance will be this node up here between 39.67 and 39.75. That will be the resistance up there. And so I'm expecting the market to just chop between the two, grind up and down. Now, if it's able to get through this resistance and get above yesterday's high, come back down and find some support, that would be very bullish for continuation to the upside and a continuation of that momentum, of that trend that we have, value being higher. But until they get above yesterday's high and find support, it's not really certain. We may just need to come up here and repair these weak references, and then we pull right back down. To the downside, I'm basically, like I said, looking at that area just above the overnight low as support. If that breaks, I'd be looking for this area right here around 39.33 to act as support. So that overnight low breaks, they come down, they repair the two weak references, and then we find some support in here. If that level starts to break, I would start monitoring for continuation lower from there. Just because of the 45-degree angle on the low from the overnight, if they're going to take the market higher today, they should find support pretty soon here. And so begins the chop. Chap. Chap. It's the chap market. All right, if you have not yet, please do smash that thumbs up button. It really helps out the channel. If you give me those sweet, sweet likes first thing in the morning. Got 140 people hanging out. That means 100 of you don't like me. 100 of you. So for those of you just joining us, I'm looking for a chop zone here. Market to grind up and down. To get bearish to the downside, we got to get below this level right here. To get bullish to the upside, we got to get above this level right here. In between, chop. Good morning, Sanju, Scooball, Philip, Nap, John, Fighter Pilot, MW, Mateus, Damn Jam, Nick, Caffeine, The Shaw, Annis, Novice Trader, James, Daniel, T-Bay, Jules, Brian, Element, David Glass, good to see you. Arthur, Nor Auto Trader, J Trader, Rockingham, RK Leon, Trip, Brian, Javier, and Jack. Everybody hanging out to watch the chop. Too slow, Henry, too slow. You missed it. Oh, also I wanted to mention on the NQ, the balance area. So the NQ just started to poke back up in a previous balance area. You can see this one here. Just started to poke up there yesterday. So if they can get continuation above their high from yesterday. What, man, they tested it almost. If they can get above yesterday's high, find support, look for continuation to the upside. It'll probably be a grind to get through that balance area, but the target is retesting the previous balance area high. So they can get a lot of momentum above yesterday's high. If they want to keep it pumping, they also got a 45-degree angle on the low as well. Good, strong support from these overnight buyers. All right, breaking that overnight low is a little bit bearish, increasing the odds. We're going to head down and repair that weak I and J period low at 39.38 that we left behind yesterday. Looking for support. Screwball overnight a little net short, and it keeps pushing. Yeah, I guess a little net short. Not really. Pretty balanced. Tom K, what is the dark blue outlined box in the overnight? That is the value area for the overnight. So in the overnight last night, they kept their trend going as well, with value being higher. A sign of momentum, so they say. We trade value, not price, they say. Screwball, now this 45 degrees should be resistance. Yeah, it can be. Support becoming resistance. So, of course, the value area, the blue shaded inbox we were just talking about, that's constantly changing throughout the day. That's why we call it developing value, because it's not set until the market closes. But the fact that we're starting the morning with our value area this morning overlapping to lower is a second signal of a potential end of momentum. So the first signal was we didn't get a spike at the end of the day like we have been yesterday. And now we're starting the day overlapping to lower with value. So these are just two signals, nothing to get bearish about at all. But just to note, the momentum is starting to wean. But of course, if we get above the high and we get continuation higher, we'll pull that value area up. So it's still developing. Good morning, Mark. 230. OM from Barcelona, welcome. And Lamus, good to see you. Herman and TV, welcome to you guys. Chopping on back down, looking for that support to chop on back up. Chop, chop, chop. Element, the ES keeps getting smacked at 39.60. Is there anything interesting about that level? Well, first off, it doesn't really matter right now. We're just in morning chop, so we can easily head back up through there. But if we don't, if that continues to act as resistance and the market does head lower, well then, once again, that's just a third signal of the end of the momentum. The price that was the fairest price to do business yesterday, the price that was a comfortable place to do business less than 24 hours ago, becomes resistance. That's a little bit bearish. So too early to make the call right now. We're still in the morning chop. But if that does end up holding, then yeah, that will be relevant. But for the moment, we got to let the short-term traders just pick each other's pockets till someone takes charge of this market. Chilling with Dylan. Welcome. Scooball, rotational day today. After that, push higher is in play too. Certainly. We have had a couple of days of excess. A day of balance would not be unreasonable. Scott, you're an officer and a gentleman. Thank you for your service. Can you take me higher? Chilling with Dylan says balance is pretty obvious. Yeah, we could have a rotational day, but just imagine if we got above yesterday's high. You don't reckon some of these shorts are going to cover? You don't reckon some FOMO buyers are going to start to jump on? Got to wait and see what happens at the high. Okay, so as we start to push our way up into this resistance around 66, 67 here, we look for, does the market create support on a pullback? So whenever the market's in a chop zone where it's just grinding up and down, support is the first signal that it might be going higher or resistance lower. So can we turn this node right around the opening price into support? Maybe even turn 39.60 into support. Mr. Knife, what is a FOMO buyer? A FOMO buyer is a buyer who buys purely out of emotion. They're not buying for a fundamental reason. They're not buying because they had a careful, concise plan and they're enacting the plan. They are just panicking and suddenly thinking, oh no, if I don't get long right now, the market's going to take off without me. That is a FOMO buyer. Johnny says, if the A period closes above yesterday's high, I will FOMO, damn it. As you should. If we get up there and we find support, that support is buyable. Nigel, how many touches equals support? So it's tricky. Obviously, there's no exact number. The way you can measure support, and you can get good at measuring support and resistance, first and foremost, don't think about it as an exact level. Whenever you see me pointing like an arrow like this, I'm talking about a general area. So this general area is resistance, this general area is support, this general area. So first and foremost, don't think about it like it has to stop at an exact level, because then it'll screw you up and you'll never gain any confidence. The second thing is there's no way to know if it's going to hold as support or resistance. So essentially ahead of time, you pick a level where you think the market is going to find support or resistance. The first time it touches, if it comes down and it touches and it finds support there, that's it. That is support. And then the question is it strong enough support to get continuation higher? But really all you need is one test where it finds support there to prove it is getting support. And then it's just a question of, is there enough for it to hold? How many times does it have to test before it's enough? Who knows? Different every time. All right, ticks are trending higher. Can they keep them above the zero line? That is bullish to see. Why did I draw the support where I did? Because that's where the resistance was in the A period. We pushed up and we couldn't get through there. And then when we broke through there, that's where that pop higher came. So I suspect there'll be buyers waiting when we come back down. Nope. I just use what you see on the screen. I don't use any like level 2 data. I'm mainly watching in terms of volume. I'm watching the volume from today, where the areas that the market has made volume. From yesterday, the overnight, and the cumulative. I know this seems like that's so many things, Charles. That's so confusing. It's really not. Like once you get used to it and your brain chunks it all together, you can just kind of naturally notice where's support and resistance. So somebody asked earlier, how do you know it's support? Well, right now, this is acting as support. Will it be enough to get us back up there to repair these weak references? Well, I don't know yet. But it's support for the moment. Okay, well, that first support is breaking. A continuation of the chop. Can we get support here around the opening price? Nope. The chop continues. Screwball, some resistance around the halfback opening price. If that breaks, that is going to be some hard choppy. Yeah. And the same regard, the opposite direction. If this resistance holds, it increases the odds we need to go chop down and repair those weak references at 38. But there's just no way to know if it's going to hold. All right, pushing back down, looking like we need to repair those weak references. Turn off that magnet before we can turn around and head back up through the open. Screwball, looking at the daily, I was expecting some FOMO buying today, but they have failed. I think it's too early to say they failed. You know, if we break 39.35, then we can start to talk about it. But until then, we're just still inside the initial balance. Anything could happen. Will I sing a song when we reach 100 likes? Absolutely. It's been 10 seconds since we had 96 likes. Now we got 104. There you go. It's a beautiful song written just for you. All right, moment of truth. Do the buyers step in? Was repairing those weak references enough to get us back up through that opening price? What is the graphic sign for the opening price? It's this little green dot that you see right here. That's the opening price. Skewball, can resistance at the overnight low hold? Again, I don't see it that way. I see it as chop. I see it like rotation. But yeah, I mean, if the resistance holds and we head back down and break that support, then we're talking. But until then, this is just chop. We're just heading back to the fairest price to do business. Single 07, welcome. Thank you for the sub. Mateus, so you're looking to play a breakout of this chop zone? Yes, sir. A breakout or a failed breakout. So if they try to push the price up in the C period and they get up above yesterday's high and then they can't find support, I'd go short for it to fail to break out. Or same thing to the downside. If they push below the support there, come back up and they don't get resistance, I'd go long for the failed breakout to the downside. Or if they get support, go with the breakout. You could trade the chop in the middle like rotation, but there's just no way to have any probability in your favor. It would just be a guess. Dave, don't diddle in the middle. Element scalpers probably loving today. Yeah, this is a scalper's paradise. All right. Well, somebody's accumulating something with this volatility here. This is a bot. But which direction is it building up a position in? We'll have to wait and see. Dawson, welcome. Thank you for the sub. Next step, join the brigade. All right, well, things are starting to shape much more to the bearish side than the bullish. We're going to test this support once more. If it breaks, I will be looking to be short, monitoring for continuation to the downside. Next to test yesterday's low. But let's see if the support can hold first. Da-doom. Da-doom. Dun 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 dun. All right, last chance for support here. Do the buyers step in? So if 34 breaks, I'll be looking to test yesterday's low. Do we push below there, come back up and get resistance? If so, start monitoring for continuation lower. Each set of single prints that we left behind, there was a bunch of them from this big push higher. Each one of these could act as support. So maybe we find support at the first one. If not, the next one. If not, the next one, so on and so forth. There's two ways to balance off the excess. Obviously, this is sending us the signal that that momentum is now over to the upside. Didn't get the spike yesterday, and we have the value overlapping to lower today. So two ways to balance off this excess. We may just rotate sideways, or we may pull back with price. That is why we must monitor for continuation lower. They can find support anywhere and head back up. But for the moment, this is bearish to see. So now we're looking for resistance. T-Bay, there must be a murder bot algo that runs at 10:20 daily. I've never noticed that specifically at that time. Element looking for an entry, looking to sell resistance. Okay, leaving behind this set of single prints in the B period increases the odds the market needs to push up to backfill those, and that we will get resistance there at the base of those B period single prints. It's also worth noting if we do get resistance at the base of those single prints and the market comes back down and the C period breaks the B period low, that will be the beginning of one time framing lower and increase the odds of a trend to the downside, which would be bearish. With that, I bid you all farewell, au revoir. Wish you the best for the rest of the day. And I'm going to go hang out with the cool kids in the brigade. Anyone's welcome to join. It only costs $10. Think about giving it a try. You could start today. Thank you. See you tomorrow.